8:13 tomorrow night at Bar Chez Maurice here in St. Lazare. It's the Stone Doctors with opening act The Contractors. Stone Doctors are a Rolling Stones cover band, and they're going to be playing to raise money for the Vaudreuil-Soulanges Palliative Care Residence. The executive director of the residence, Richard Mainville, and the president of the board of directors, Sylvie Crevier, join us in studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me turn your microphone on. Good morning. Sorry, my mistake.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning. When I spoke yesterday with Steve Lambert, who's one of the organizers and promoters of the show, we were talking about maybe we'll get one of the guys in with the guitar and he can do a song. And then Steve said, you know what? Why don't I send in Sylvie and Richard from the palliative care residence? And that made so much sense, because this is really what the show tomorrow night is all about. It's about raising money for the Vaudreuil-Soulanges Palliative Care Residence, which is celebrating or has celebrated your 10th anniversary this year, Richard?
The foundation have celebrated the 10th anniversary, and the residence, it's the 5th anniversary that we are celebrating in September this year.
For people who buy tickets, which are $30 to go to the show tomorrow night at Bar Chez Maurice, how badly is that money needed, and what's it going to go towards?
Well, you know, we have to raise 1.2 million a year to be able to give the free cares to the whole population for the people at the end of their life at the residence. And every events like that, like the one at Le Bar Chez Maurice that Mr. Stephen Lambert put on, that's very, very helpful. It's a nice example of what the population can do. That guy have decided to do that last year, and he's doing it again this year. And that money, it's very important, and we need it because it's very hard to collect 1.2 million a year, okay, to make that residence work.
Sylvie, palliative care as a private service versus palliative care in hospitals or public health institutions, is it still a relatively new thing?
It is relatively new in the sense that we've been there for 10 years, but the first house in Quebec is about 25 years old.
Okay, but that's still relatively new.
It is.
Yeah.
And the big difference between a residence and a hospital is the environment. Mm-hmm. We have over 240 volunteers that come and give their time, and it makes an ambience in the house that you won't find, unfortunately, in the hospitals.
Are the volunteers and the people who work for you mostly people who have gone through that experience, and is that why they get involved?
Not necessarily, because we have volunteers as young as when we started. That was 10 years old. So we have teenagers, we have adolescents, we have people who are 85 years old. These are people that have time on their hands, and they want to give back to the community. So some of them have had experience with palliative care residents, but others, they just want to give time. They just want to give their expertise. And for us, the environment we have created for these volunteers makes it an environment where, 240 people come and give of their time. It's just amazing.
A few weeks ago, when the Quebec government, there was a story in the news about the government disseminating its kits and or directives for doctor-assisted suicide, and there were interviews on the news with palliative care residents representatives, and they were unanimous that they were going to opt out, and there was no vehement outrage or anything like that. It was that they believed so much in the service that they were providing, and that people's final days still have value.
Sure, it's a palliative care residence. It's there for that. It's to give the chance to people to live till the end. Okay, it's very important, because when people come to their residence, they don't come there to die. They come there to live till the end. Okay, and for them, it's very important. And the vocation of a palliative care residence, it's all about that. It's how we can take care of people till the end of their life and until they die naturally, and that's all.
That's such a great way of putting it, Richard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
very
Richard
good,
was apologizing about his English before we went on the air. That's a beautiful way of putting it. People come there to not to die, but to live out the rest of their lives. When people do complete their journey at the palliative care center, what generally is the feedback that you get from their surviving relatives?
If you only knew all the comments we get day after day. Richard and I, we go and visit the patients and families on a daily basis. And the comments we get about the care, about the food, about how the house is clean, the atmosphere, the fact that they can bring their dogs in and stay with them, the birds that they can hear. It's just amazing. It's just amazing how the environment makes it a home. And we put so much emphasis on the fact that it's a resident, it's home. Just at the beginning, like the employees would say, we're going to go and eat at the cafeteria. And I would tell them, do you have a cafeteria at home? And they would say no. And I would say, well, we don't have one either. It's a dining room and it's a kitchen. And the comments we get about everything, the care, the doctors, the nurses, the volunteers, the cleaning lady, the cleaning man, the people that take care of the outside of the residence, it's just amazing. We haven't had one complaint in 5 years of operation.
You mentioned one of the things that they like about it is hearing the songbirds around there. And
Exactly.
I know there was a movement in Hudson a little while ago to donate birdseed for a bunch of feeders around the building. How did that happen? How did it come about, and what's happened with it?
We have every room have in the front of the window. We have a bird's house. Is that how do you say that?
Yeah.
Yes. And people, every room, they have a big bay window, and they can see birds, and they can see a squirrel, and they can see the nature. It's all moving in the front of their eyes, and they can hear it because each room have a window that you can open, and and we have volunteers who's taking care of that, and those guys are doing a great job because they come and fill up the feeders, and it's the community have to be very, very proud of what is going on at the palliative care residence, because it's the result of the effort of everyone. And yes, yes, Sylvie.
But you know what? And it's because volunteers come and offer that to the palliative care. They come and meet Richard and say, I have a project that I'd like to put in place. And for us, it's important that the projects don't cost anything.
Right.
Because all the money that we collect goes to the patients and families. And it's, we collected pennies. When the pennies came at the end of their life, we collected $18,000 in pennies.
Wow, I remember that campaign. That was quite something.
And this is what the population does. They come up with ideas. They come up and meet with Richard, and they and they put it in place. And like Richard was saying, the community takes care of its palliative care residents.
Well, if this hasn't inspired you to spend $30 on a ticket to see the Stone Doctors tomorrow night at Bar Chez Maurice in support of the Vaudreuil-Soulanges Palliative Care Residents, I don't know what will. Richard Manville and Sylvie Cravier, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.